Greetings, warriors. Let me get my microphone over here. Ugh. Ugh. I gotta get myself all rest. Oh. Gotta go with the glasses. Yes. All right. Welcome to the wake. All right. How did you guys enjoy that travesty last night? It's one of those movies that... It's one of those movies that, yes, we do have to apologize for every now and then. Oh, my goodness. So, as you guys know, pretty much what happens, right, is John will acquire the movies for us unless it's something that the Doc and I did, right? And this movie is public domain, even though it's an independent movie. And it was just piss poor, man. And you have to remember, back in the 70s, right, especially after, like, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and movies of that ilk, right, people were making slasher movies just to make slasher movies, right? And oh, God, I'll look it up. But there's a guy, right, from the area that I'm in, right? He used to do a movie night of horror, like horror, like pulling entrails out of people horror, like grotesque horror, right? And it was called Uncle Lenny's. I'll get it for you, right? But it was like, you know, I Eat Your Brain, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, right? And things. And the movies were just disgustingly horrible. I mean, it was bad. Hold on for a second. I feel like I'm falling down on top of you guys. Man, I got to get the camera fixed. It's way too close. You guys are looking at the pores of my nose, for God's sakes. All right, but so and the movie, it was just. I am still recording. Stop it. I got to tell you. All right, but the movie, right? I thought it was just an abomination. It was horrible. Had no redeeming value. I gave it half a tombstone because, you know what I mean, it did have a redeeming value that it was on film. Still, to this day, Killer Driller is a 0. It's a big egg, right? This I gave it half. I mean, there was nobody in the movie that you'll ever hear about again. And it was horrible. That's all I could say. You know, it was just one of those horrible, horrible movies, right? But our bits were good, right? We were funny. The jokes were actually pretty good this week. I think it was Jimmy Pitts of Wildwood, New Jersey. So, Jimbo, great set of jokes. I appreciate it, you know. So, anyway, right? So, and John Rios, thank you very much for throwing a couple of those interviews in that I did. If you guys know, I work with the group called Doko Horror Haven, and they have all these events all year. I'm going to one. I think it's next week. But and they had this thing called a Ghoulastic Book Fair. Now, what it was writers and people that have bookstores and stuff. Actually, I went to the one bookstore in Media. She was one of the ladies I interviewed first, right? And we went there last week, and I told Helga, I said, Helga, go bonkers, because Helga's an avid reader, right? And she went in and she dropped like $120 on books, which she loves. Right? Happy Mother's Day, you know, Helga. But you know what I mean? You see these people that I put on, support them, okay? I just found the other day the envelope that I had everybody's business cards on, and I'm going to put their cards in with all the videos, right, in one of the in the comment box, so you guys can get a hold of them, okay? Especially some of the authors that I interviewed, because, you know, they are really, you know, doing their best trying to get it out there that they have these books and stuff, right? And like the one with the Cape May murders. God, his name slipped him, and you're going to kill me for forgetting your name. But that book was really good. Paul Popeil, his books, right? They're really good. And then you saw me interview my favorite Delco Horror Haven lass, Tammy of Tammy's Maid, right? She has the world's greatest niche. She likes to do sewing and things like that, and she put together all these pillows with like horror figures on it, right? And the first one she did, I think she said it was Edgar Allan Poe, right? And she's a hoot, right? And I love Tammy. And if you ever go to a festival, any kind of like a sci-fi horror fest, like Blob Fest, right? Squonk Fest, which I'm hoping to get to one of these years, she'll be there selling her wares, right? And if you got somebody you want to get a really unique gift for, she's the person to go to, you know? And a couple other people I interviewed, there were one last night. The thing was one bunch of guys, they have games, horror games and stuff they design, right? They're actually, I was telling a friend of mine about them, right? And they're like, oh my God, I play those games, right? So I copied the business card, gave it to my buddy, right? And he's looking to hook up with them to get, because there's a new set or something out. I'm not a gamer. I don't play video. I did play video games one weekend for an entire weekend. And my buddy, right, again, me rambling, right? A buddy of mine asked me to house sit for a weekend. He was on a business trip. And I'm like, yeah, sure, right? So I went and house sat for him. And he had whatever the new Nintendo was back in the day. This is going back to like the mid-90s. And I rented. Remember, you could rent video games at Blockbuster. I rented the Godzilla game, and I played that game from Friday night, and then when he came back in on Monday night, right? Because I took a vacation just to hang out at the house because it was like me, it was a getaway, right? And as he came walking in from the airport on Monday afternoon, I literally just beat the game. I played that game, and I kid you not, probably like 48 hours straight, right? And I look like the typical gamer, right? But I only did it for one weekend, and I'm sitting there literally like beer cans strewn around me, right? And it was, but I was determined, and then that was it. I never played video games again. Anyway, so that's me. So, but again, support all those people. There's going to be a lot more. I did like 30 interviews, right? And every one of those guys that I interviewed, right, were guys and gals, right, were the nicest people you'd ever want to meet, right? They're trying to sell their stuff. And all I'm doing is trying to be an advocate for them, right? One, I'm getting myself content for the show, right? And two, right, I get to meet some really cool people, you know? So there we are. So, programming note, next week we have the movie Chilling, right? And Chilling is going to be on Saturday night because on Friday night we have... All right, let me see if I get my things done the right way. We have... Where's the football one? There we go. We have... Not the Bearcats. Crap. I got the right thing. We also are showing the Jersey Bearcats. They're an indoor football team. But I want to get the one of the Blaze. Oh, gosh darn it. There we go. All right, so the Blaze. So they're on next Friday night, right? And because their games can go up to 3 hours. I mean, it's a regular football game. It's spring football, right? And the league just happens to be all first responders from around the country, right? And my son, who's a fireman at Alert, which is the fire company that's in the movie The Blob, full circle stuff, right? He was very good friends with a guy who was 9/11 guy, fireman at 9/11, right? And he also played for not this particular team, but one of the New York firemen's teams up there, right? Hell of a guy. And I just found out that he recently passed, which kind of sucks. But, hey, God bless your soul, buddy. All right? No more fighting fires up in heaven. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. But we have them. That's on next Friday night. So we will be on Saturday night at 8 o'clock. We're bumping, I think it's Creature Features, which is, again, it's a great show. I love that guy. I think he thinks he's Ozzy Osbourne, you know what I mean? And the chick with the mop head, right, that's on with him, right, that doesn't say anything, she's hysterical. It's funny. When you're watching the show, right, even though he's the focus, you gotta kind of watch her in the corner, and she's just comic relief. I love her, you know? So that's next week. Next week, we are on Saturday, right? Pardon me. And next Saturday, right, May 17th, the Doc and I are going to be at Bones Bazaar. Bones Bazaar is a local Comic-Con, science fiction Comic-Con, down here in it's in a place called Quakertown, Pennsylvania, the Quakertown Farmers Market. Now, don't get, we're not going to be in the stall next to the goats, right? Not that kind of farmers market. And we're going to be there from, my nose itches. I think I'm going to get a fight. We're going to be there from 11 to 5, I believe, right? And we're going to shoot our first anniversary show there, live, okay? So if you have any jokes, come on up to us, right? Throw a joke. You want to come up and say happy anniversary, please do that, right? You want to come up and just do a bumper and say, watch Cemetery Cinema on WON New York. We'd appreciate that too. But just come by our table and check us out. Oh my goodness. I'm actually heading over to CVS right after this to pick up our promotional pictures, right? I just ordered a slew of stickers of that Cemetery Cinema logo, our logo, the Doc's logo, my logo, right? And a bunch of other fun things. We're going to have 2 big-ass boxes of DVDs that the Doc is going to be, I don't know if he's selling them or giving them away, right? I actually have them over here right now. And it's going to be a blast. And our first anniversary show, the movie, is going to be Crickfoot, which was written and produced by the guy Bones, who runs Bones Bazaar, Bones Johnson, right? And Philly John's the thing, right? Like the Pope, right? Hey, by the way, the Pope, right? The Pope went to school not too far from where I live, you know what I'm saying? Right? So Philly, we can claim our Pope, even though he's from Chicago, right? He graduated from Villanova, right? Which is Delaware County. I'm from Delco's team, and Delco's, college, because, Delaware County Community College, that's about it, right? Cabrini got absorbed into Villanova, right? Oh, John Newman, right? So Newman College. But anyway, and it's pretty cool. And actually the high school that I went to, right, and 2 of my friends are priests. Well, one recently passed. God bless you, Gus. But Father Baker and Father Esposito, right, who are friends of mine, right? I graduated high school with Father Baker, and Father Esposito I grew up with. He was a couple years older than me. But his sister and I went all through school together, and he was a hell of a guy, even though he passed away. God rest his soul. They actually did Mass with him at my old high school, which I think is just bizarre that I had a Pope say Mass at my old high school. And one thing I hope comes of it, right, is, and I get too deep into it, but I had a priest who was paraplegic, and he is now on the road to sainthood, right? He's like in the first step right now, right? And I'm really hoping with with Pope Leo that he actually pushes it, and Father Atkinson actually does, get to be a saint. God bless his soul. Right? I was not his favorite student. Trust me. So Father Atkinson, please forgive me. Pretty soon I'll be like, it'll be Saint Bill, but please forgive me. I know I was a pain in the ass, but look how I turned out. God help me. And I won't be seeing him upstairs. I'll be downstairs in the heat, if you know what I'm saying. But hopefully I get to Valhalla first. But that's a whole nother story. We can go on and on. But so the other thing, right? This past week we actually changed our are scheduled during the day, right? Let me bring that up for everybody. And the boss wanted me to make sure I get that out there, right? That this is our daytime schedule, right? So before 10 o'clock, they use. I think he has cartoons on in the morning. And like today, I was actually watching 48, and I saw Mighty Mouse, which I have not seen since I was, well, I'm still that tall. When I was younger, right, back in the old days, right, and he has a whole bunch of different cartoons. I believe, God, he has, oh my God, not Casper, yeah, that whole Filmation group with Harvey Comics. That's what I'm thinking of. I think it was Casper was on there and all that. But anyway, right. Right. But the shows that we have locked down, right? We have Sir Lancelot, King Arthur fame, The Occasional Wife, right? I suppose she's an occasional not wife. I don't know. Climax, Loretta Young Show, Red Skelton Show, NYPD, great show. Brenner, Tightrope, Our Miss Brooks, and I Married Joan, right? And I Married Joan just a hoot. I remember watching that with my grandmother back in the day. But anyway, right? So we got that new lineup coming. Everybody please watch the new lineup, right? And then what do we have going on, right? So we just finished up with the one set from May. Let me bring up the next one. That's June. Yes, we got this one. Okay. So, the movies we have left for the month, right? We have I'm Haunted 3, which will be on the Friday after Memorial Day. I'll be hosting that by myself. And I will have the rest of the interview with Miss Elizabeth Chamberlain, right? I did an hour talking to her, right? And I could have gone 3 or 4. I don't know. She would have wanted to go 3 or 4. Because she was just so nice and sweet. You know what I mean? And she's the kind of person that, like I always say, I hope they really do well. All right, so let's move this over here. Right, then we have Chilling, which is on next week, right? And that's the one that's on next Saturday due to the football being on Friday, okay? So make sure that you got, and I will be doing a couple different videos for that, right? So keep an eye out for it, right? The Curse of Bigfoot, the Friday before Memorial Day. It's a bad movie, but we made it hysterical, right? And I still have to get my bits where we have a Bigfoot running around out here in the woods of West Bradford. So you guys will get a kick out of that. I finally talked my son, my cameraman, into coming out with me. We can go out and do that for the day. You know, the Curse of Bigfoot. Okay. So that's how we wrap up May. Then we go into June, right? And June, here we go. Now June, right? Like I said, we have the Curse of Bigfoot, right? The Legend of the Legend of Crickfoot, right? And that's sort of like, you'll never see anything like it. It's a community put together movie, right? And it's funny, right? And that's our anniversary show. That's going to be on June 13th, Friday the 13th. And we're going to be doing the show, like I said earlier, from Bones Bazaar. So expect a completely different show that we're doing. It will be hysterical, right? Schizoid, Reap, and Trentus, what is it? Trentas, right? I have no idea what the hell they're about, right? And I'm going to be watching this upcoming week because the Doc and I are filming on the 20th-ish, right? Unless I'm trying to get tickets to Lilo and Stitch for the red carpet, right? And if that's the night, then we'll move it to another night. But I can't wait to go see that because that Lilo and Stitch, that was one of my favorite cartoons I watched with the kids. Helga hated it. You know, did you ever have something that you love watching with your kids, right? And I have 2 sons, right? And the wife, she just hated it, right? So it was kind of like we'd watch it and like kind of like not let her know. Shh, don't ever lie to your wife, but just don't tell her everything. All right, happy anniversary to me. And then, like I said, I really don't know anything about the rest of these. So, yeah. Um, but I said we're going to be watching them. Then we have some up for the summer. So, with the summer coming up, the Doc and I are going to split up our shows a little bit more, right? So, where is it at? There we go. Ax Trintas. Oh, where are my September shows? Anyway, but we have ourselves all planned out from the summer through September. So I think out of like the 9, so we got 4 for June, 4 for the summer, so that's 8, and then we have 4 for September already set up. I already picked out 2 that I want to do for the summer, right? And the Doc's picked out 2. So out of like the 10 shows, 4 of them we're going to be doing on our own, okay? Which is going to be fun because it's summertime, right? The Doc babysits his grandkids all day. Me, I'm working, right? But I'll be doing more stuff with the Scouts and things like that, you know. One of the movies we have coming up September is called Cannibal Camp. I can't wait to watch that movie because that's just gonna suck. I hate God. Not that I'm telling you to not watch our show, right? But that movie, if you're a gore fan, you will love that movie, okay? But I can't. I don't know, right? And I'm hoping that it's good. It could no. But what we're going to do is I do summer camp with the Viking Scouts at the end of July every year, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to have some of the boys, right? We're going to do a little bit theme for the show, right? And you know, it just sucks because the kids won't be able to see it. They can see their bits, but they won't be able to see the show because it's a gore fest, man. So, you know, I gabbed at you enough, right? You know, I appreciate you guys watching. Last night was our 51st episode, right? I mean, we went over 50. You got to figure, you know, we had a few months where we had we did 6 movies instead of 4, right? And things like that, right? And, you know, with me being back to work and with Doc babysitting and doing all, Doc has 5 other shows he does, right? I mean, he's busy as hell. I mean, he does Swamp Theater, right? Which is his Doc Dredd's movie show, right? And then he does Trailer Park, which is a show where he shows a bunch of trailers, right? And then he does The Obit most weeks, right? He does Murder Table Monday, 5 o'clock on the on Facebook, right? And then he does Dr. Dredd reviews every Friday. That's what he's mainly known for, right? And, you know, so, you know, with all that, right? And then I said with summertime, I'm a lot more busy with the Scouts and, you know, with work and stuff. And plus I'm going on vacation and stuff, you know. We wanted to break it up. And you guys will enjoy it because you get a piece of me you get me one week, you get the Doc next week. Then we'll be doing it together and all that all summer. You guys will have a blast. All right. And I could gab on for another hour or two, but, you know. So it's the Mad Darbarian for WON-TV, Cemetery Cinema, and Mad Darbarian stuff. Look me up at Mad Darbarian. I'm all over the place, right? And if you guys want to go out and see some more of my interviews that I did, I'm going to be loading them one by one. And, and the other thing, I don't know if I'm going to do it this summer or this fall, right? But I had asked the boss, and it's public domain. I want to do Of Mice and Men, right, with Lon Chaney Jr., right? We've done a bunch of his movies already with him as a horror icon. I want to show you a movie of him, right, as like a serious actor. And he was great in that movie. If you ever read the movie Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, right, or saw the remake, which came out in I think it was the 80s, or I forget who was in it, right? But it's a really good movie. It's a movie that tells about how the times were back then. And John Steinbeck, even though I hated when his name came up on the reading list in high school every year, right? But this movie, right? And the book was great too. I didn't appreciate it when I was 15, right? But it's great, and you guys will love it. A couple people that are part of the Mad Darbarian post-apocalyptic theater group, the Pondering Darbarian, and the Pondering Darbarian, and Sergeant Joe McPhear. We're going to be doing a couple little podcasts, little bits, and hopefully I'm going to put them in to my next couple of shows. There are other characters that we have. I haven't brought them out yet. You've probably seen Joe McPhear. I've done a couple of bits with him. He's like a huge conspiracy theorist. He's a little wackadoodle. But U.S. Marine retired. You got to love him. And then the Pondering Darbarian, I don't know what happened to him. You know, he's like our resident hippie. But we'll have them we're going to have him on a couple shows too coming up. All right? So the Mad Darbarian, WONTV, Cemetery Cinema, blah, 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 blah. I'm out. See ya. And that's all, folks. Yeah. You know, I can do Kermit the Frog too. Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here. Cemetery Cinema live. Don't ever watch Driller Killer. Bye. Oh, my goodness. Yes, I have eyes.